Yeah. Bala, you're sharing the chant?
Yeah. Just. Prabha, can you allow me to share? Oh, thank you. Sorry, wait. Yes. You're able to see this, right?
Yeah. We'll start. Please sit comfortably. Bring your mind to the here and now. Sahana bhavatu, Sahano bhunaktu, Sahaviryam karavavahai, Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vedvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Janmadhyasya yatonmayaditaratah chartheshvabhignyam swarat tene brahma hridaya adikavaye मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय विश्वोत्पत्त्यादिहेतवे तापत्रय विनाशाय श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नमः। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्. Tato jayamudirayet.
You start, I'll just share as I'm sharing. Vyarthi can.
Yeah. So we are still in our ideal wife chapter. Okay. In a gist, we are talking about Devahuti serving Kardama. And how she had become absolutely frail and in her service, because Kardama was in deep meditation, and Kardama had already told Devahuti and that and her father that I will marry you, I will have some kids, and I am here because I have been allotted this duty for this universe, that I should have some children to continue the race of humans, and that's why I will marry Devahuti and I will have children. So now that happened, and Kardama was in penance, and Devahuti was serving him so much that then finally Kardama, once he opened his eyes and he sees, you've been serving me with so much devotion, they ask me for a boon, and Devahuti says, you know the wish of every woman, she wants to have a child, so please give me. And Kardama also respected that wish of Devahuti. And then she goes, she's so frail and the old beauty was lost, but then she goes and she takes a dip they get into one Vimana, and with that they go somewhere, and then they take a dip in the water. She takes a dip in the water, and both of them come out and they look absolutely wonderful. Now they are living in this world of samsara, beautiful, this wonderful world where they are very well dressed and looking attractive to each other for a purpose. So they have come together for a purpose, and as part of this, now they have 9 girls. And suddenly Devahuti realizes that now that they have had children, Kardama will leave them at any point in time, and she says, can we please be there for one more? I would like to have. I never learned the Brahma Vidya from you. I don't know if we got to that part. I think we'll have to read that. I don't think we got there. Okay.
Just scrolling up. Sorry, you please continue.
Here.
Yeah.
So what we are trying to, let us look at the ideal wife. We have been really, discussing about who is an ideal wife, what is womanhood, and all those kind of things we have been, right? If you look at generally, a woman is a more emotional being, and a man can be a more intellectual being. And this is a generalization, but there can be certain changes in this also. And a woman, we said, is the fulcrum of the house, in a way that she is the one who has come from outside and becomes that big equilibrium to hold everybody in an equilibrium. It seems like a very big responsibility for that. If I have to become the fulcrum of the house, how should I be? If I have to be the fulcrum in the house, the one who brings equilibrium to the house, I know it seems like a very big responsibility. Why should only women take up so much responsibility? Can be a thought that comes up, but it is a way for us to, if you really look inwards, it will help us grow. It is that which brings us growth. So what is it that, how should a woman be to be the fulcrum in the house? A woman is the fulcrum when she has an attitude of selflessness in a way, but that selflessness is coming out of an absolute rooting in the core. Very self-aware, very grounded, very deeply connected. Now let's take the example of Mandodari. If you look at Mandodari in the house, Ravana was not exactly the best husband for her, but still he had very high respect for Mandodari, because Mandodari was absolutely connected with her core. She was a very self-aware woman, very empowered, and did what she believed in. She was absolutely respected in the house. For that, when you are so grounded within yourself, you command respect naturally, and that equilibrium will come in. Okay, so Ravana was not the best example of a husband, but she was still, even in that situation, in absolutely a very, very grounded, self-aware, fully devoted, and not in a victim mode. She was very self-empowered. And that only such women can become the fulcrum in a house. So the only effort the woman has to do, it is not about, when there are a lot of people saying you have to serve the house, you have to be there, you have to put up with it. It's not doing it like from a space of tamas. It is doing it from a space of sattva, where when my awareness is strongly rooted in my core, then I can objectively look at situations and handle it in a very beautiful way. Anything you would like to add here, Bala?
Yes. So that is very nice. The self-aware woman, I think, to put that in one word. So I was remembering in our, before going to that, even in Patanjali Yoga Sutra, if you see, the one of the main core value, okay, that we all, it's for all of us. So because we are talking in the context of being a self-aware woman who only can be the fulcrum of in the family, Satya, okay, is a core value that needs to be practiced. To know what is Satya itself is a challenge. Satya does not mean, okay, whatever happened, I tell as it is. We all know, right? That's not Satya. What is Satya? When there is no conflict within me. My thought, my action are the vak, all the three we say, no? The thoughts, they manifest as my action and speech. So when all of them are in one congruence, right? When there is no conflict at all, that is something that if we are able to practice constantly, then all our decisions, all our actions, all our response to the life situations, everything becomes in line with the nature that is within me. So we need to be in touch with that core. For that only we have lot of sadhana. So it's not easy. We can say, okay, how can I be in touch with, that within me? What is that? So it is very clear that everything, even for us to get into this, say one particular career, I am on job, I will have to learn, that particular skill over a time. It does not happen immediately, right? We say, if I have to say learn some song, so that even if it is a very simple song, it needs practice and I have to pick that up. And then, so if a skill is like that, this is something, knowing myself and being in touch with that inner self is, we have lost it. Okay, as children, unconsciously, we were aware without even knowing, we were in touch with the true nature as children, just spontaneously, without much of ego. But as we grew, we lost it. So we have to get back to that now conscious. It becomes a conscious process. So the first step is for us to also give time for ourselves. We would have heard me time, me time, me time. I think this me time is something very important, where I am with myself. I may, initially it could be like, reading some book or, writing my thoughts, observing what is happening within me. That is why breath is a beautiful handle. I mean, it depends on the temperament of each of us. We need to discover what works for me. Is that a meditation or some bhajan or some chanting or these? That is why traditionally our shastras have put in these things as part of our lifestyle itself. So when we start spending more time on that, then we get that me time, that purification within happens. Okay, all said and done, we have collected some lot of baggages, emotional. That is the thing which is causing so much conflict, and I lose that touch with my inner core. So for that purification to happen, let us get hold of the methods that are time tested in Shastras. Why to go and rediscover a new thing? Time tested. Shastras are saying, okay, do this chant. Start with Vishnu Sahasranamam, start with Lalita Sahasranamam, or do some chant. Or so as we do that, it takes time, but this is a time tested thing and it works. So slowly, Sadhguru very beautifully says, right? The thoughts are, mind is just running and situations are there and I'm reacting according to the habit of the mind. But as we start allotting this me time every day, it works wonders. It does not take too long time. Even, 21 days when we continue doing this, we will be able to sense that gap. between our thoughts. The moment we are able to hold that gap between the thought, whatever works for you, just breath, pranayama, meditation, yoga nidra, chanting, anything you take. Okay. So all these things, when we are able to get that gap, then that starts pulling us. So we will be able to slowly increase that gap between the thoughts. And that is where we will be in touch. We get in touch with our inner, self, which is there all the time guiding us. So only that can give us that strength. Otherwise, sometimes apparently it may come. A little bit of support from outside comes, when we share our challenges. But finally, that we need to empower ourselves. Only then, that is why Bhagavan also says, Uddharet Atmanatmanam, Atmanam Bhavasatayet. Atmanye Atmana Bandhuhu Atmaiva Ripuratmanaha. So here he says, so mind, know that the only friend that we have is the mind. The only foe can also be the mind. So we need to ensure that we are in touch with that inner core. So with this, I just remembered a beautiful character in my life. I have met my grandmother. So she did not have children. Okay. The true Pati Vrata, those days, she was, my grandfather was like any typical tata at home. And he was not well. He was more physically dependent on my grandmother. The way she would serve him, she was, if I think now, she was very much self-aware, because others would tell, oh, Janaki, you are feeling so low. You are not well today. Why do you have to do it? But I have not seen her complain even a bit. There was no bit of complaint. And the moment I remember, it was only a smile in her face. Okay. So there was no conflict with it. She said, oh, I have to do this. She will go and ask, shall I give you food and then take? Or shall I take and then, give you food? Because it is late now. But then Tata would be, no, you give me first, feed me first and then you take. I remember that incident. She would just smile, come back, give that and go. And it did not affect her health also. So thinking back, she was very much self-aware. To reach that stage, of course, it is a tapasya. She was also empowered when some things, when my grandfather used to say, that say grandchildren, you as grandchildren are not wearing this langa, he wouldn't let us inside. That time she would put her foot down and she'll say, hey, nowadays all these things are not available on the shop. It is not that she was so submissive. She had her own assertive character. She was very much self-aware. And out of joy, out of her own self-discipline, out of her own tapasya, she lived a joyful life. I think that is what probably finally we need to. So there are many like that. So the crux of this entire thing is, I think we need to be in touch with our inner self and be guided by that and then go. Like Devahuti also, that is what she said. Though she keeps serving, when she was very clear that she wanted the lineage, she wanted children. She said, let us. So at that time, when it was the right time, when she could tell it with no conflict within, Kardama also actually, obliged or whatever. And then they also get into this Grihasthashram.
So a self-aware woman is a woman with very high self-confidence. That is something we have to be very clear about. A really self-aware woman is someone with very high self-confidence, self-dependency. My happiness is not dependent on the others. I know how to take care of. I know I'm confident enough to know what is the right thing for me to get to that level for me and the family. I'm taking care of myself so I can take care of it, so that it is good it is the larger good. This is good for me and the larger good. So with that self-confidence, that self-aware, that person will never feel like a victim or helpless. Correct? That is the rooting. Never feel you may have, but can come back quickly, can find their ground quickly and take the necessary action. Okay, so that's where we need to. I know we had lots of discussions also last class and all that. If anybody has any questions, you can start. Otherwise, we see one thing we wanted to do. Today, because being Grahana, we thought we will have the class till 6:15 because I think it kind of ends around 6:15 or 6:20, and then we can take care. Only today we will have a shorter class. Hope that's okay with all of you.
Where do we start reading, Aarti?
So Devahuti is also Raymond's was soiled. No, now go down. That Bindu Saras she has gone into, no, next. The dream was over. We'll start reading from there.
Anything? Any questions from any participants?
Any questions from anybody before we move on? Yeah. Okay. I'll read, okay? The dream. The dream was over and Devahuti came back to reality.
Sorry, I'm disturbing.
Yes.
I just had a small doubt. I was trying to frame how to put it down. You said, Mandodari had that respect herself in her place, though her husband was not fit to be, husband like this thing, though he was with so many negative traits. Do we mean that expecting that respect is again wrong? We are not supposed to expect that respect.
No. Respect is a base. That respect, I think, if you have to ask me, respect is the base of any relationship. To feel respected is the base in any relationship. And Mandodari was respected. She demanded that respect because she was so
with her actions,
in her core, in her actions, and in her this thing. So the way to demand that respect, we do not give the power to somebody else. About our respect. We make ourselves such a way that others will respect us. Is this making sense?
Yeah, but what you are telling is exactly right. But there may be some situations where where the person is like, with all positive and trying to do whatever best, and still that respect is, nowadays maybe.
So my respect is not because I love somebody too much, or I serve too much, or I'm doing everything. It is not in the doing. It is in my being. It is like, if you really think of it, it is like Durga Devi seated in my heart.
Okay. But
I don't know if it makes sense.
This is situational. I don't know whether I can know in the group whether.
No, but I know in general there are. See, I know this is a real problem. Many times women feel not respected, probably in the house, or maybe softer beings in general in a house, right? Women are softer, as caring and stuff like that. But that is where there is a femininity and masculinity within each one of us.
Okay.
If we become very feminine, we may not know how to bring out. So somehow that it's work in progress. We have to work on this a little, but that masculine aspect is also needed. Respect can be denied, can be demanded, or is it the lack of connect that causes disrespect?
See, respect in the sense, maybe the person is. Suppose if I can give a small example. I'm attending a session or I'm listening. it is something which she is liking and doing.
Hmm.
I keep on going and disturbing her is like as if, my work is important. Whatever you are doing is not at all, worth.
Yeah.
This is something I don't know how we will take, how I have to take. Is this the respect or how, on what category this comes? I don't
So
know.
what do we do when somebody comes and disturbs us when we are in that class? We immediately respond to them?
The reaction of that person depends on the importance that she is doing for her. I mean, whatever work she's listening
So
to.
say I am, now you tell me,
Huh.
if I am the person who is in a class and somebody is coming and disturbing me, right now, what do you say I am doing?
You will say, I'm in this session, I cannot attend to you. Then the reaction will be, in a different way after that. How do I face those consequences?
Yeah, how can you? Communication. Sit down and say, this is a time, just like, say, maybe when you are studying or when you are working, you cannot be disturbed. Similarly, when I am in this class, this is my time. The whole day, there is a lot of things I'm doing. But this is one time when I want to have that time to myself. So you can also start off with saying, the boundaries, where you can say, I'm going to have a class and I would it would be nice if nobody disturbs me. Maybe I know you may have something, but I also know that you can handle it on your own without me also. If there is something very important you have to take care, like feed the child or something like that, you can leave a note or something, do the necessary bit that is needed, right? Because we also have a responsibility here, or somebody has to eat. But if it is not something that is very important and it can wait for an hour, I will request you to wait till after the class. Okay? It is not whether, no negotiation, no discussion. Just state it that this is your need.
Yeah. And this also is very important. This will come only when there is no conflict within. So that is very important. When I am agitated, let me pause, think through, let the agitation subside, and then it will come. This is one of the option. Whatever option comes to you, whatever you think, because option. You know the best, your nature and how people are around.
Communication with the person. That's what you mean to say?
Yeah.
She's
saying this is one way. What I just said.
No. Yeah, that communication. Bala ma'am said that when that agitation comes down, and when you don't have any conflict inside, that's what she said. That is referring to the communication that Aarti ma'am told.
Yes. See, one of the options that Aarti gave, it comes when my agitation are low. Otherwise, what can happen when someone is coming and disturbing and say, how many times I've told them, they don't. In that agitation, I take the meaning that they don't respect me. Is it really disrespect? It could be just their need, their immediate concern. It may not, they may not even thought about, generally mothers are taken for, they don't think.
Granted, yes. Women are taken for granted. So
Okay.
because we refuse to be firm. That is also one thing. Men do. Men will not. Why are you disturbing me? Immediately, we will feel like your papa, maybe they need.
Yeah, I definitely agree with children, but when it happens with
even adults think that way, ma. We have to.
It is the same thing, yeah. It is the same thing. Nobody, mostly, it depends. We can't generalize. Nobody intends coming with a disrespect. When I am agitated, many times I may be looking at it as a disrespect. Okay, so I'm unnecessarily adding that meaning to it. Okay, instead, at that time, what is happening? Okay, now it can wait. So when I am not agitated, I am not adding that meaning that there is no respect. I am just saying this is what is needed for me, and I state it to them. Then the communication becomes very clear. I know only, yeah.
And yes, also, to be very clear, it may not happen in one time.
Yeah. True.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I must be consistent with it. Every time, slowly they'll think, okay, first time there will be some agitation in their mind, especially if so far you've been loose. You've always listened to them or you have said something. But slowly, that pattern, they will also understand. Okay, now she means what she says. So it will take time. Don't expect a change in the first instance itself. You say, and you tell it first, and then if they come, don't give in to it. You say, please. And if they get irritated because of that, no, it's just the way. Do you like it if I get interrupt when you are on a call, important call? This is the same way. Or at least in your mind, even if you don't say it again and again, you be sure what you're saying is right, and you move ahead with it. Slowly, everything will fall in place. They will understand that she means it. Whether they understand it is important to you or not, or that, okay, let her, at least things will fall in place. Okay, let me not disturb. Will fall in place. But we have to do that calmly, without agitation. That's the only thing. Then it will fall in place quicker.
Yeah, definitely. I got a solution, to be very frank. As Balan said, maybe I'm looking it with agitation. Maybe I have to first reduce that conflict inside and then look at things. Maybe that may look more positive for me. And this solution Aarti ma'am gave, I have to try. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much for your time, patience.
Just to add, one very important thing is where we all get caught. Okay, this is just an incident, right? I am doing something, someone is disturbing. This incident. But because something is happening within me, I am adding the meaning that they are not respecting. This is an unnecessary frill. Okay, just look at it. That is the power of now, we know, right? That is the power of being in the present. Okay, with my old baggage, so many other things, where is it coming from? Again, going back to that self-aware. I am not respecting myself. Respect does not come from outside. Somewhere there is a lack within. So I think because of that, others are also not respecting. Okay, it is very important to take situation by situation. It is very difficult, but it is possible. Okay, we may fail. Out of 10, we may fail 9 initially. But 1, am I successful? Then after 1 week, we will see that FIR, which after 1 week, we will see that 2, we will be successful out of 8. And this is how we progress. And every time we are successful, we are breaking our habit. It is very important. It liberates. So let us not add meanings. Let us not add frills. That's all. Just one small thing I would like to quote regarding this respect. Okay. A very beautiful, I don't remember exactly, maybe we can relook at it at Mahabharata long back. When I was watching Mahabharata, it was very nice. Okay, Karna is talking to Krishna, is telling at that time, to Karna about his birth, and or maybe in the war when. So Karna says, what is wrong in my approach to go and into Duryodhana, because he gave me the respect which I wanted. I did not get respect from anybody else. So Krishna beautifully says, respect is not something that you can demand and take. As long as you are demanding and taking, you are being a slave to others. There is no freedom. Respect comes automatically. It may come, it may not come. You respect yourself. That's all. Unfortunately, Karna did not have respect for himself, right? Even though he was such a great warrior. He said, if you have had respect for yourself, that was a very nice thing. He said, you could have done something for your own, kula, whatever. What did you do to bring up that, whatever, the community differences and all that? Did you do? You were constantly seeking that Kshatriya respect from others. So he could not even live like that Kshatriya. He just wanted that war and go against Arjuna. So that was a very beautiful, this is what he said. So that is something we need to, we are not like what Aarti said. Let us remember we are self-dependent. Yes. Physically, we are not, physically we are dependent on others, but mentally we are independent people. We are self-dependent. If my state of mind is like this, I am responsible for this. This is a very empowering statement. We need to start living this. Then we will see a change in us.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Disrespect is a disrespect when it is very explicit. Clearly told. Something is said very badly, something is told in front of everybody, whatever. Those kind of things are clear disrespect. Okay, everything we shouldn't try to cover up and take ownership. In some spaces when it is very clear, but here when somebody is disturbing, it is their compulsion, probably, which will take, or whatever their quick need, whatever, and they need to this thing. So it may seem like disrespect to me, but if I am firm here, things will form in place. This is a problem with many women. We feel I have to be there. I will be on the phone and 10 people will be asking me questions, even though I am talking on the phone. Okay, this happens all the time. Okay, it will not happen much with men, but the women are just easily accessible. We mothers, we women in the house, come ask us this, that. We have also set ourselves like that in a way. But where it is very important for us, I should also learn to be firm.
Okay.
And respect my need there.
Yeah.
I should also be able to respect my need, then others will respect my need.
Right. You're right, ma'am.
Right? If I don't give importance to my need, others will think nothing is important to her. It's okay.
Right.
When I stand up for my need and I give respect to my need, the others will also say, okay, I don't understand, but she has a need, so I understand. We have to, that is the way to demand, not to go and say, you respect me. Yeah. I demand that respect by respecting my need here.
Okay.
Now here Kardama, he asks her and Devahuti does not hesitate and she states her need. She knows her husband is at a higher level and she's thinking, okay, maybe you think it is at a low, this material level, but I have this need at this point in time. She firmly expresses it first.
Right.
Also, women have a thing, why don't they know I should know this? I feel we think others will get into our mind and understand what we need. Because we have a hesitation to state our need.
You're right.
To even own up our need first, that I need, I'll feel guilty. Oh, am I being selfish?
Devahuti could have had guilt, no? Yeah. Devahuti could have had, Kardama, he's doing tapas. He is a great rishi. Am I stopping him from his dharma? If she had so much conflict, she could have had I am pulling him to this grihastha. Yeah, so many things can come. Even our own knowledge of all this karma, whatever, can come as an obstacle. But Devahuti was clear. She did not have any conflict. So that gave her that, I think,
right.
Whatever.
When I don't understand myself, the others can't understand my needs. When I don't respect my needs, the others, you cannot expect that respect from others. So everything is self-dependent and we have to own up.
Can relate definitely. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Any other questions before we move on? Self-pity has no use. Also, so much of sense of doership. I have to do, I have to do. Yeah. Our being is being nourished, which is very important here. Okay.
Diva has written, we are good at multitasking compared to men. I don't know about that. It is an individual basis. It's a very generalized statement.
Or we accept multitasking more easily.
Are we taxing ourselves? Are we tasking or taxing ourselves also? We need to question.
Yeah. If we are able to do it calmly. Yeah. There is a need to be a superwoman sometimes, but sometimes to demand is to say, sorry, I can't. Can somebody help me? Okay. That's also really not bad. I don't have to act like that superwoman. I can do everything in the house. And then I have this pain and then nobody is, that's how we can get we can tire ourselves out a lot sometimes. So, to really reflect on our needs and own it up and ask for it without hesitation. Ask for it, matlab, not like begging, like ask in the sense, like how she said, no? And now as we go forward, we will see further what Devahuti and any other questions before we move on? Yeah, single task is better because your mind is fully focused in it. But sometimes it's not possible. I can't say I will be cooking, nobody should come and talk to me. I can't, that's not what we do. Wherever. Take your time off. Where I have to give my complete attention, I will demand it. So the dream was over and Devahuti came back to reality. Okay, just one point before. But if there is explicit disrespect, that has to be called out and spoken. I will not take such explicit disrespect, and that has to be nipped in the bud without giving too many excuses or justification for the other's actions. Because if I don't nip it in the bud, it will grow. What kind of explicit disrespect? In the way of talking, in the way of usage, in the way of where there is open disrespect. There, explicitly stating that I find this extremely disrespectful and I do not like it. And please do not do this again. I don't know how each one will handle it. But in that situation, wherever standing up for your respect is also our own work. That is a work of self-empowerment. And the sooner, instead of giving excuses, I go into the lot of feeling, but if I give excuses to others, okay, maybe he was very angry, maybe she was like this, maybe this is happening, that is why, maybe they are not well, that is why they acted, but maybe the more excuses you give, it will grow. So it has to be nipped in the bud. Anytime you start, if it has already grown, still at some point in time, we can start. Explicit disrespect should not be tolerated at any point in time. Firmly, it has to be stated, and whatever steps accordingly, it has to be stated. And I
think it's 6:13. Yeah, I just remembered one story. Maybe we can tell the story and close. Yeah, any kind of abuse, disrespect only, verbal abuse, physical abuse. So this is a very popular story. It keeps coming, I think, coming around once in a while. So there was a snake. Okay, that snake was, always, what do you say? Venom. It was injecting into whenever people would come. It never liked other beings coming around it. Okay, so it was always, if someone disturbs the snake, it would inject the venom itself. It would inject the venom and kill. That was the way of its self-defense. Not self-defense, it did not like people coming or other beings coming around. So there was one Swamiji who comes there and looks at the behavior of the snake. And then he says, and the snake is also so venomous. It looks and nothing is coming around it. So the snake says, I don't know what to do. I don't like too many things. I say, for example, take it as frogs. They come teasing, I don't like. So I just, inject the venom, they go away. It happens. If one frog dies, then nothing else comes. They all are very scared. At the same time, so much of venom is there in me. That anger is there because there is nobody who is around me. Then the sage says, yeah, you should, don't inject. Allow people to come. Only this injecting venom, this giving out the venom is there for you only as a prey when you have to eat, when you have to take your own, only for your survival it is there. It is not to scare away. So don't use that for that. Then the snake thought, okay, that's also correct what he says. So it just allowed. And then this Rishi says, be good to everybody, all that. So snake allows everything to come in, and so the frog starts coming in, say other beings, I don't remember exactly something, and slowly small children also, they start, because the snake is just there, they start throwing stones on the snake and all that. So the same Rishi comes again. When he sees the snake in this state, he asks, what happened? Last time you were like that, flaring with so much venom, and others were so scared in that extreme. And now you have come to this extreme where they are just even stoning on you and you're not doing anything. He said, you only told, no, don't inject the venom. What else can I do? So the Rishi says, I told, don't inject. I never said don't hiss. You can scare away when it is needed. Hiss when it is needed. You don't have to inject. The venom is not needed. So same way, wherever it is needed, we have to stand up like snake hissing. If we have to use force, we need to. It depends on the situation. But within, we need to be aware what we are doing. And that is the key with that. Yeah. At the same time, not be venomous and become, a venom in us.
Yeah.
Okay.
We will just read one stanza and we will leave it at that, no?
Oh. Twitter, share.
So that we just have moved on a little.
Yeah, you're able to see, no? Read.
Yeah. So the dream was over and Devahuti came back to reality. She knew that her husband would leave her and go away to perform tapas. He had spoken about it long ago when they were to be married. She went to his presence and spoke to him in soft and gentle terms. She said, my lord, you had told my father long ago that you would abandon the Grihastha as soon as I became the mother of children. I know now that the time has come when you will leave me. But my lord, how can I bear this separation? I am an ignorant woman. Please teach me how to be rid of the fear of samsara. I am frightened. I will have to live all by myself. The children, when they grow up, will find suitable husbands for themselves. I will get no solace from them. Please stay back for a while. Who knows? I may get a son who will help me, who may teach me how to be rid of this bondage called worldliness. When I was with you all these days before the children were born, my desire for you was earthly. Attachment of a worldly person to one who is also worldly like her leads to bondage. But when the same attachment is to one who is beyond the ties of worldliness, they say that it leads to salvation. You are detached. Will my love for you then lead me to salvation? Consider me. I have been your wife. I am the wife of one who is the greatest of the tapasvis, and yet this heart of mine is still grieving over worldly things which I am to lose. I am indeed the most unfortunate of women, since I have been deceived by the Maya of the Lord. But she now realizes that she has been with earthly pleasures, just to give her, and she is seeking. Again, she is stating her needs. She is clearly stating her needs here. Let's be with that. Let's be very clear. When the need is stated, it will be respected. Okay. So clearly, and there is clarity and there is. So we'll close the session for today. You want to close, Bala, today?
Oh. Asato ma satgamaya, tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, mrityorma amritam gamaya. Om sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. Om shanti shanti shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Thank you.
Thank you.